Alright, well, I just generated this scramble with QQtimer. You can go to qqtimer.net or cstimer.com, I think it is. Anyway, I'll link it in the description, and you can use the roux generator subset to generate MU moves and get LSE scrambles. So you can practice this on your own. I'll put the scrambles in the description as well, so you can follow along if you so choose. For this case, I'd noticed this one on the bottom is flipped, and so is this one, because obviously you need two flipped edges, you can't just have one. And the other side edge is right here above it. So what I would do, instead of just going right into the algorithm like that, I would first move this one out of the way, so I can bring this one into the top layer, and then continue the algorithm from there. Thereby putting this into that first case that I showed you, where I can easily just pair them up like with a couple of M moves. And from there I can just continue solving LSE. Okay, so here we have another case. The general algorithm that I would use to just purely orient them would be, and then, just solve the arrow from there. However, seeing as these two are right adjacent like that, I would do the initial M prime, and then instead of doing U M prime again, I would follow up with an M to get it into that first case again, the nice one. Now they're both paired up, and I can just skip 4C like that. Let's go with another one. So here we are, and this is off by an M, or an M prime. So if I were to adjust it, I could either do an M prime. However, that would leave us in pretty much the exact same case as last time. So for some diversity, we're just going to do an M, and now we have this situation where there are two pretty much adjacent on the top layer, with also a layer separated two flip. So for this situation, the most direct way of solving orientation purely would be something like this, and then going from there. However, in order to pair these up in the bottom, I would bring these two as far apart as possible, and then just use a bunch of M primes like this to get us into that beautiful first situation like what we had in all the other cases. And I'll just use some M's to pair them up, and then solve LSE. This next scramble here, we have a situation where I would not opt to manipulate these ULUR pieces while orienting the edges, simply because it's such a simple solution to orientation that it would not be efficient to go about it another way. The only other way that I can think of, well, the most direct way that I can think of to manipulate these while solving EO would be something like this, getting that one there and that one down there, and then getting into the arrow by doing this. And now they're both apart as in the second case I described earlier, and now being able to just pair them up like that. Except that was way more moves than it would have taken originally to solve EO, and then it would have taken probably just to do EO and then pair them up as is usual. So anyway, you can make your decision on if you would like to do that on a solve or not. I would recommend against it, but some people do silly things. There you go. This fifth case right here I rather enjoy, if not for its ease of execution, just for how fun it is, because it involves a lot of M and M prime followed one and then the other. It's very fun to execute. So what I would do is put it so these two are opposite like that, and then M, U prime or U, it doesn't really matter in this case. I would do U prime, M prime, to get these paired adjacent like that, adjacent and opposite, as per the second case, and then again M, U, M prime. Finish off your LSE, and there you go. So to finish it off with the example solves, because we could beat this to death, though really it's just mostly about remembering situations and how you would solve them and trying them in different ways. So I'd just like to cap it off with this one, but I'm glad that the generator popped this one out because it's a good technique that people should know. It goes by many different names sometimes. We'll just call it misoriented centers, because the orientation of the centers, or whether or not they're proper like that, doesn't matter when it comes to determining edge orientation. So to get it to the arrow, we would just do that. However, when we consider the edge positioning right there and there, we'd want to do a U first, and then do the M prime, so we can have these two positioned there. So instead of just pairing them up like that, they'd be paired up in the top. So what we can do is an M, put them in the bottom, U prime, then pair them up, and then orient the rest of them, I suppose. And we just skipped 4C, so that's how you do it. Just experiment, and you'll find your own little keys on how to remember them, and